Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 28 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on doing at least 2 things every day that I don't want to do just because I know they're good for me. So yay for day 28, and yay, only 72 days left to go. I'm not very enthusiastic about that, and my hair is flying all over the place. I put it up this morning and it looked all cute, but it didn't stay that way. And I just got home from cleaning the temple, so I've just been running around and crazy, so my hair is just wild and crazy, so I apologize for that, but there you go. Anyway, so today, I don't even know what to do about today. Today I want to share something a little bit different. I did my 100 days of recognizing God's hand in my life, and today I feel like I need to do that again. Not the whole 100 days again, sorry, clarify that, because I don't know what my deal is. I don't know what is wrong with my brain or my body or whatever. I went to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, and my alarm was going to go off at 5:30. I knew I was only needing about 4 hours of sleep, and I did not sleep. And I think it was probably just the anxiety of knowing that I only had 4 hours to sleep before I had to get up to go to work. So I just tossed and turned in bed for 4 hours. It was annoying. And then I came home from work because it was, half days on Fridays. And I'm like, okay, I came home from work today and I did not sleep. And then when I tried to take a nap, I slept for like an hour and a half. And I'm just like, I'm so exhausted and I cannot sleep. It is seriously frustrating to me right now. So I went to work and I was just praying that God would help me get through today, that somehow I would have the energy and be able to stay awake and stay focused and do my job, which is, and I had to open today, and so I was in the busiest spot, and it was just crazy, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's just no way I can do this, and yet I did all of it, and I know that's because God was helping me to do that today. And I was supposed to meet with my editing friend, and we're supposed to have a meeting with this editing company that I'm still not sure I want to use or not, mostly because of the price, not because of the deal that they're offering, because it's a good deal if you can afford it. I just can't afford it. Anyway, so we're supposed to meet with them, and I've been stressing about that all day yesterday and today because I was short on my hours, which meant I had to stay later today to make up the hours. But then the time that she scheduled the appointment, I didn't have time to stay at work to get all of my hours and still make it to the appointment. And so I was just kind of stressing about how I was going to do everything today, on top of the fact that I didn't get any sleep. And so I felt impressed to text my friend. And I debated about doing it, and I was like, trying to figure this out. And then it's like God gave me the simplest solution, because we were supposed to meet at my house, and there's no way I could be to my house on time. But I'm like, you know what? I might be able to get to her house, and even if I don't get to her house on time, she could start the meeting without me, and then I could just show up when I get there, and it'll be fine. She could just fill me in later. So I sent her a text message and said, hey, can we do this at your house instead? Because, I'm going to be late leaving work because I got to make up for hours and yada, yada, yada. And then she called me and sent me a text message back. And of course, I didn't answer the phone when she called me because I'm still at work. But I did check my text message, which I probably wasn't supposed to at my desk, but I kind of did anyway. Breaking the rules just a teeny bit. Anyway, but basically she said that she'd gotten a message a couple of days ago, and she sent me a text message that I never got, saying that the company had called and rescheduled the appointment. And so she's going to let me know as soon as she gets the appointment date, because I guess they scheduled it for another time that's not going to work. So she's trying to figure out a time that will work. And I'm like, I appreciate that she's going through all the effort to do this. And I'm grateful to God for reminding me that she's doing this because she cares about me, and she wants, the best outcome or version of my book when it's published to be out there. And so she's looking into what she thinks is the best options. And I know it's a really good option. It's just not necessarily one I feel like I can afford, but it doesn't hurt to look into it. It doesn't hurt to get information. And she's going to be there with me so we can discuss it and discuss options and all of those things. So I'm like, it's not a bad deal. So I'm grateful that she's doing all of this and putting in this effort. And that's really very generous of her to do that. And so today I realized that I was just, excuse me, because I looked into this company some time back, and I realized I just didn't have the money for it. So I just never even considered it as an option. And so I've just been struggling to see it as an option right now, when I know I have other options that, require more effort and work on my part, but not as much money, versus somebody else doing all the work and costing me money I don't have. So it's just kind of a, which one do I want? And sometimes I like the idea of paying for the convenience. Honestly, I always like the idea of paying for the convenience because I don't want to have to do all the work. And I kind of feel like that today. I don't want to have to do all the work. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Trying to stay on track with where I'm at. But I just feel like, God was helping me so much today and helping me to go to work and put in like 7 hours at work today with no sleep, which is just insane. And to have this meeting be canceled so I didn't have to worry about it, I didn't have to stress about it, and then I could relax and I could stay the extra 15, 20 minutes that I needed to make up my hours. I mean, it's only like 20 minutes, but 20 minutes is a big deal when I'm trying to be somewhere at a certain time and I'm like not leaving work until, anyway. So it all just worked out. And I'm like, I stressed over this for like days and I didn't need to stress at all because God took care of everything. And so I'm mostly just annoyed with myself at this point for stressing about all of these things and all of my anxiety over stuff that I have no control over and over stuff that just kind of all fell into place and worked out anyway. So I was like, oh, and it was such a relief. I was like, I'm relieved and it's okay. And I was like, oh, and then I'm kind of annoyed because I stressed myself out and I didn't sleep and all these other things over, 15, 20 minutes on my time card. It's not that big of a deal if I'm short 15 minutes. Don't want to be, but and all of those things just weren't as big of a deal as I made them out to be. So I think God is trying to teach me a lesson that some things that I stress about and make big, huge things aren't, and that the things that are important, that God will help me work them out so that I can be where I need to be when I need to be there. Like tonight, going to clean the temple, and I slept for an hour and a half, but I'm annoyed because I could have slept longer than that, but I only actually gave myself 2.5 hours to sleep because I just didn't lay down and take a nap. And then when I did, I didn't sleep, which was the annoying part. So I'm like, I dozed. I think I slept for a little bit, like maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then I was trying to sleep, but I was like, this is just annoying, frustrating to me. So, but I'm grateful to God for helping me to get through things today. So I just felt like I had to put that in my video, even though it's not necessarily about things I did not want to do today. So also, I have the realization that my cold was getting better and I was feeling better. So I kind of stopped using my neti pot and apple cider vinegar and all the home remedies that I've been doing. And now it's coming back again. And I was like, I didn't really want to use my neti pot tonight or take the apple cider vinegar, but I did. And that seems to be helping. So I'm like, I should just keep doing it until my cold is completely gone and not just stop when I start to feel better because I just don't like it. So that is something I need to work on. And tonight, I had all afternoon if I wasn't going to take a nap to work on my book. And I do this every weekend. I can work on my book. I can work on writing, and I just never do it. So tonight when I could not sleep and I had like an hour before I had to go clean the temple, I was like, what am I going to do for an hour? I didn't really want to work on my book. I don't know how to phrase that because I want to publish my books. I want my books to be out there for people to read. And sometimes I really do get into my stories and I do enjoy them and I enjoy writing them. But sometimes they're just kind of an emotional roller coaster and I feel like I have to be in the right mood to do it. And if I'm not in the right mood, I just don't want to do it. And also sometimes I freak myself out about the idea of how big it's going to be or how small it's going to be. So like it's going to be this big, huge thing and I can't handle it, or it's going to be like this flop and nobody's going to care. And so then what's the point? So I go from one extreme to the other. And I forget that there's a middle ground in there somewhere, or maybe there will be some people that like it, and maybe it will just build up slowly so I can adjust to it and get used to it. Just, like losing weight, it happens, I put the weight on very slowly. It didn't happen overnight. And if I lose it very slowly and not overnight, it gives myself and my body a chance to adjust to that, and it's a healthier way to do things. So it's probably the same thing with the business, to keep up with it, because if it grows too fast, it's kind of, it's really hard to keep up with, and it's, everything just, it's too stressful. It's too much. And, if it flops, it's okay because it's a learning experience and I can learn what I didn't do right and I can try again because I'm just trying to put myself out there. It's not like it has to be perfect. So I'm trying to get away from the perfection thing and trying to convince myself to do things. And of course, I've probably mentioned this in videos before. I don't forget my storyline or my characters. I just forget the words that I wrote in the story. So I actually was reading it, and I actually caught a sentence that I was like, I read it and I was like, wait a second, this feels like it's from a different character's point of view and it's not supposed to be. So I fixed it, which was nice. And then there was a chapter I was like, I should probably go back and make some changes in this, but I don't know if it's because I'm just really tired or what, but I was like, I couldn't think of what to change it to when I was reading it, because it was like reading somebody else's book, reading somebody else's writing. And I was like, I'm ready to read the next chapter and see what happens. And I was like, oh, I have to write the next chapter to see what happens, because I'm the one writing the book. So I didn't necessarily want to start working on my book tonight and only have an hour, and I didn't know what I was going to get done or not get done. And then I feel like I just keep rereading and redoing the beginning. And I was like, I'm never going to get to the end if I keep doing the beginning. I have to just go through the whole thing, and then I can go back through and make changes and fix it and try to do all of that stuff. I should have learned that. I've learned that in my other books. It's like I do the beginning so many times that it might have been good at one point, and then it's just overdone, and then I just don't care anymore, and then I just never finish the book. It's just like I have to just write the whole thing, and then I can go back and fix it. But I get fixated on fixing the one chapter I'm on or where I'm at. And I'm like, I want it to be perfect before I move to the next phase or the next stage. And so once again, I think God is trying to teach me that I do not have to be perfect, and it does not have to be perfect to move to the next stage. It's like school. You can get a C or a B and you still pass, and you can still go on to the next class. It doesn't have to be an A or an A plus every single time. It's nice when it is, but you can still graduate. You can still get something and it will still be okay. So I'm like, okay, I am learning. And so that's just kind of my learning process things. And I did want to take a nap today, and I just didn't, which is annoying. So I didn't do anything else because I was so super tired. But I did get myself to read my scriptures and meditationals, and I am grateful I did that. And like I said, I didn't want to do the neti pot and the other stuff, and I did that. And I went to the temple tonight to clean, and we did not have very many volunteers, which was not very nice. And I'm not much of a cleaner, which I've probably mentioned in my videos before as well. And so I usually do the lazy work. Not that it's lazy work, but I do a lot of walking around and emptying the trash and refilling the Kleenex boxes and simple things like that. I don't do the other like harder stuff like vacuuming and mopping and all of those things. But we didn't have volunteers tonight. So no, we had some volunteers. We just didn't have a lot of volunteers. So I don't like doing the other stuff. But since we didn't have volunteers tonight, I ended up helping mop the floors tonight. So doing stuff that I didn't really want to do, but I'm grateful that I had the energy to do, which is another thing that I'm just, recognizing God's hand in my life again, because I haven't slept. Seriously. I've probably maybe got an hour and a half to 3 hours of sleep in the last 24 to 48 hours at this point. So I don't even know how I'm awake or functioning right now, let alone have the energy to go and clean and mop floors and do all of those things that I won't do at my own house. So I know that God was blessing me and helping me today. So I just feel like today was more just recognizing God in my life and helping me to do things, and just being aware that I still have lots of things that I have to learn. Lots of things I have to learn. And I really need to change my attitude about a lot of things, especially about like my editing friend, and recognizing that she's trying to help me to get the best version of my book out. And I just wanted her to edit it. I'm like, just edit it to the best of your abilities, and I'll be okay with that, as long as it doesn't have a whole bunch of spelling errors and, stuff like that. People aren't going to make fun of me for the way that it's written, as long as the content seems pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I'll put it out there. I'm okay with that. But she's like me and wants to be the perfectionist and wants to find the nice fancy way to do it. And she looked into this, and there's a whole lot of work that goes into it. And of course, I've talked to some other people in my writing group, and someone else that paid someone to edit her book or review her book and stuff. And so she got a lot of helpful tips on that and said it was the best money that she spent. So I have other options that I can pay someone to edit my book, but they're not going to do all the work that this company is going to do. They're not going to do my book cover for me. They're not going to promote my book. They're not going to set it all up with all the SEOs and all of those things for Amazon to put it out there so that it has the best possible start. to launch the book. But I mean, once the book is launched, then it's still up to me to continue to promote the book and to continue to put myself out there or my writing out there, because they're not going to follow through with that. They're just going to do the, hey, we edited your book, we put a great book cover on it, and we set it all up for you to market it. But then I still have to market it. I still have to do all of the other stuff. So, but they teach you how to, supposedly, I think they teach you how to do that. So it's worth the money. I think it would be worth the money if I had the money to do it. But I don't have the money to do it. And I can learn a lot of those other things to do on my own and from other people that I know that will help me do it without charging me money or charging me a lot less money. And it won't be as professionally done as theirs would be, but it would still be good enough. And again, for just starting out and doing it and getting my first book out there, I think I would just be thrilled and elated just to get my first book out there, even if it's a flop, or even if it just, starts off slow and eventually, people read it and share it and it slowly grows. But I think that's much better than it just like, hey, here it is. And all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, this is so cool. I hope some people think that that's so cool. I will think it's so cool. But I don't think it has to be big or huge or whatever else. Plus, the first book I'm putting out there, I know, is what people would call a magnet book. It's not as long as the other books are going to be. And it's mostly just an introduction to my world and to my characters. It's so it's supposed to like draw people in to want to learn more about my world and the characters and the upcoming stories that are going to be out there. But it's still like a magnet book. It's a starter book. It's an introduction book. It's not like the main theme, the main story, or even the main characters for the series. It's just a starter book, an introduction book. And I think it's still going to be a good book. I think it's still a good book. And I want it to be a good book. But I don't expect it to be a bestseller book. So I don't want to put a whole lot of extra time and money into something that I know isn't going to be a bestseller. Maybe it's the money I don't want to put into it. I will put the time into it to make it a good book. I just don't want to put the money into it. But I struggle with the time. Just like my other book that I'm trying to write in the same series. It's just another book later in the series. And I think it'll be a really good book if I can get myself to write it. But I'm struggling to get myself to do that. So, like I said, I at least read through the chapters that I had tonight. And then I was curious where it's going to go next. And I know I need to go back and fix the last chapter that I've written. It's chapter 4. I've only got 4 chapters. Technically, I had, I have no idea, 16 chapters, I think. I had 16 chapters. And I want to get rid of the first 12 chapters. I want to see if I can do the book and have it make sense without the first 12 chapters. And if I can, fantastic. And if not, I can put the first 12 chapters back in. It's not a big deal. But I kind of want to start it there instead of where I did it before. So, not that it was a waste of time, because I learned in writing the story and I put the story out there so I can use it for flashbacks and other things later in the series if I want to. I probably will. Some of it, maybe not all of it. Anyway, I ramble and I'm sorry. I really can't think of things I don't want to do so much. I mean, I thought it was really interesting tonight because I've been struggling for the past several weeks to go clean the temple, and tonight it wasn't even a struggle. I'm like, I'm just going to go do it. It's no big deal. Getting out of bed was a struggle because I just didn't want to, I didn't sleep, but I just didn't want to get up because I was trying to sleep. And I was like, this is just dumb. I'm just fighting myself with the whole getting out of bed and going to work thing. And then I went to work and I was just amazed at how well everything just worked today. So, and then of course all the other things I didn't do. I didn't clean my house. I didn't do dishes. I didn't do laundry. I've got a long list of things I did not do. And I don't really want to stay up to write in my journal tonight, but I'm hoping that I will stay up to write in my journal tonight, because I'm hoping that by writing in my journal tonight, it will help me to sleep better tonight. I didn't really want to make a video tonight. I honestly thought I'll just do this in the morning, because I've done that before in the past. I'm like, I'll just do it the next day and it's all okay. But I didn't want to do that because I don't want to, this is my whole doing things I don't want to do thing. And again, because I'm already struggling to sleep for whatever reason, I don't want stuff hanging over my head when I go to bed. Like, if I don't do my video, it's going to play in my head all night, and I'm not going to make it that much harder for me to sleep. And if I don't write in my journal, then all of the stuff that I didn't journal out of my system, and maybe journaling will help me figure something out. I mean, I journaled last night, so I don't know why I didn't sleep. So I'm hoping if I journal again tonight, it will help get whatever out of my system and I will sleep. I really hope I can sleep tonight. Because I mean, it's not even my cold that's keeping me awake. It's just I don't know. I can't get my brain to shut off. It just keeps coming up with different things for me to worry about or anxieties. And it's like out of nowhere. It's like, just turn off so I can sleep. That would be so nice. And then I get tired enough that I'll sleep but not for very long. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh yeah, and this. And I was like, oh, I was sleeping. So I don't know if any of you have those problems. If you have any solutions for me in sleeping, that would be fantastic. I would love that because I don't want to spend the night tossing and turning in bed again. That I do not want to do. And that is not a good thing for me to do. So anyway, that's all I have for today. And thank you for listening to me and for letting me ramble. And if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe do 1 or 2 things today that you don't really want to do, but you know would be good for you.